Q. Skills for Success. Listening and Speaking Level 5. Published and copyrighted by Oxford University Press, 2011. CD3. Unit 7. Alternative Thinking. The Q Classroom. Page 149.
In Unit 7, we're going to be talking about alternative thinking. The Unit 7 question is, where do new ideas come from? So think about yourselves for a moment. If you're working on a problem and you're stuck, how do you come up with a new idea?
For me, the key is taking my mind off the problem for a while. Let's say I'm stuck for an idea on an essay or something. That means I need to get out and do something physical. I go out and take a walk, and when I come back, I seem to have a whole new set of ideas.
What do you think, Una? Where do your new ideas come from?
I have the same experience as Marcus. Taking a break is important. I also think it's good to talk to people.
Yes, I second that. Sometimes when two people who can't solve a problem on their own start talking, the answer just seems to come up between them. That has happened to me many times. My friend says something that gives me part of an idea, and then my part of an idea gives him even more of an idea, and so on. It's really great to talk to people when you need ideas.
Sophie, how would you answer the question, where do new ideas come from?
Sometimes people have new ideas because they look at the problem in a completely different way. I guess that's why talking to friends and taking breaks helps you solve problems, because they cause you to look at them in new ways. But I think some people just have the ability to do that naturally. People like Albert Einstein and Thomas Edison saw the same world everyone else did, but somehow they were able to look at it in a new way. This helped them get really creative ideas.
That's true. It would be interesting to talk to one of them about how they got their ideas, wouldn't it?
Listening 1. Alternative Ideas in Medicine. 2 reports. Listen for main ideas. Page 153. Report 1. Doc in a box?
In this country, when we get sick, we usually get to see a doctor or a nurse. But in most developing countries, there's a huge shortage of both. Pulitzer Prize-winning science writer Laurie Garrett was thinking about this problem and flipping through an architectural magazine when she came up with a novel idea.
There was a description of a place called Container City in London, in which shipping containers painted in primary colors had been stacked in unusual ways to create apartment buildings. And I simply thought of it at that moment, and a little sort of bingo light bulb went off in my head. This might be the way to solve a lot of our global health problems by converting these abandoned shipping containers into frontline medical clinics.
A so-called doc in a box could be transported to remote villages far from healthcare centers.
Instead of having to trek enormous distances spanning a day or two just in travel to get to a health clinic, you would be able to squeeze this into your daily routine to come in and be tested for a wide array of infectious diseases and have your kids immunized as a matter of routine.
Garrett says there are empty shipping containers in almost every port in the world. Each one could be converted into a doc in a box.
Ministries of health or non-governmental organizations would be operating these networks of dock-in-a-boxes, and that they would have selected paramedics from the very villages that they serve. The most obvious reservoir is midwives, who already operate as paramedics all over the world.
The idea for the doc in a box is still in its early stages. A prototype clinic was developed in Haiti earlier this year. While it cost about $5,000 to put together, Garrett says that cost could be even less.
We see no reason why, if retrofitting is done on a mass scale, and if the retrofitting is done in a developing country port, such as in Durban, South Africa, these containers couldn't come in for well under $1,500 apiece, including the delivery cost.
Laurie Garrett, who now works with the Council on Foreign Relations, hopes governments and aid organizations will take her idea and run with it. She believes the container clinics ultimately could make portable medicine a reality for people in countries that need it most.
Report 2. Bee sting therapy.
Of the many alternative medical therapies gaining popularity, one is getting a lot of buzz. Some folks claim honeybees and all their products are useful for everything from cancer prevention to pain treatment. It's an ancient alternative therapy that's coming back into use. Practitioners and enthusiasts for all things apiary met in the Triangle recently. Rose Hoban reports.
Frederique Keller always makes sure she's got bees with her, but it can be tricky to travel with them, especially on a plane. So when she left her home on Long Island recently to come to North Carolina, she had several hundred honeybees mailed to her here. They arrived in little wooden boxes with perforated plastic tops, each about the size of a Snickers bar. Inside each box wiggled 40 honeybees that amazingly didn't try to get away when the box was opened. Keller is a beekeeper and an acupuncturist. She combines her two trades.
You sting a person with a live honeybee in specific places on the body where people have pain or discomfort.
Keller calls her practice apipuncture, acupuncture using bee stings instead of needles. Apis is the Latin word for bee, so apitherapy becomes the word to describe medical therapies using products from the beehive.
Honey, pollen, propolis, royal jelly, beeswax, and bee venom, of course.
Keller was here for the annual meeting of the American Apitherapy Society in Durham a couple of weeks ago. She demonstrated bee venom therapy during a session for about a dozen people who practically buzzed with excitement as they waited to get stung.
There you go. There's beautiful sting there.
Keller is also the vice president of the AAS. The organization is dedicated to research and application of bee-based therapies for a variety of ailments, from cancer to digestive problems to autoimmune diseases such as multiple sclerosis. There isn't a lot of research on some of these areas, and mainstream doctors are reluctant to talk about apitherapy. But Andrew Koken is a pain management doctor who practices outside of Los Angeles and frequently uses bee venom to treat pain. He says it works most of the time, although he's unsure of how it works. He says there are several theories.
One of the mechanisms is that bee venom causes a release of cortisol, which is the body's own natural anti-inflammatory, from the adrenal gland. And that's been shown in some animal experiments. Hasn't really been verified in humans yet.
Koken says another theory holds that some compounds in bee venom might affect how the body transmits pain signals to the brain. But it's hard to know for sure. Koken's been trying for years to do formal research in the U.S., but recently had a study protocol denied by the FDA. Researchers studying the use of bee venom are mostly in Asia and in some Eastern European countries where use of bee products has a strong tradition.
Bee venom has been used as a treatment since the time of the Greeks, and for at least 2,000, 3,000 years in Chinese medicine.
Koken says there's lots of anecdotal evidence.
People find out about this by themselves. I've had patients in the last 20 years who told me that relatives of theirs, older relatives working in the garden, had accidentally got stung on their hands by a bee, and their arthritis got better. And so they would go out periodically and get stung by a bee to keep their arthritis under control.
One of the biggest boosters of apitherapy in North Carolina is Fountain Odom, who invited the Apitherapy Society to come here. He's a lawyer, a former state legislator, and a beekeeper. He says the state's 10,000 beekeepers should embrace apitherapy.
We believe that there are tremendous opportunities for the beekeepers of this state to develop some of the ancient modalities for medical treatment of pain and other uses. These are some alternatives that are very, very inexpensive.
Odom started getting stung to treat the arthritis he has in his foot and knee. He says it took his family and friends a little bit of time to get used to the idea.
They might look at you askance or say, you're kind of flaky, aren't you? I mean, why would you want to be stung by a bee?
But now Odom's a true believer. He says getting stung is the only thing that helps him with his pain. He's also convinced his wife, and that's a big deal, since she's the state secretary for Health and Human Services. Carmen Hooker Odom says she's seen apitherapy work out well for her husband, but the state's probably not going to start reimbursing for apitherapy anytime soon. Rose Hoban, North Carolina Public Radio, WUNC.
Listen for details. Page 154. Listen again to listen for main ideas. Listening skill. Distinguishing between facts and opinions. Page 155. Facts.
Bee venom has been used as a treatment since the time of the Greeks, and for at least 2,000, 3,000 years in Chinese medicine.
Opinions.
We believe that there are tremendous opportunities for the beekeepers of this state to develop some of the ancient modalities for medical treatment of pain and other uses. These are some alternatives that are very, very inexpensive.
A. Page 156. 1.
I think using dogs to detect cancer is unreliable.
2.
You can find many hypnotists advertising online.
3.
The first dock-in-a-box was developed in Haiti and cost $5,000.
4.
Even though the first container cost a lot, Garrett believes future costs could be less.
5.
The state's 10,000 beekeepers should embrace apitherapy.
6.
Koken reports that bee venom works most of the time for his patients.
7.
Apipuncture is based on acupuncture, a traditional Chinese remedy.
8.
These alternative ideas are so inexpensive they probably don't work.
9.
The best solutions are based on past protocols.
10.
Anecdotal evidence is sometimes used in scientific research.
B. Page 156.
Have you noticed that your legs get tired in the middle of the day? Do you wish you could keep going when your body wants you to sit down? Do you have trouble keeping up with other people or with life in general? Our amazing product, Go Cream, is the answer you've been looking for. It offers the absolute best solution for tired legs and low energy. After just one application of this energizing leg cream, you should be convinced. Made from the oils of the Brazil nut and sand from the beaches of Hawaii, Go Cream soothes and energizes at the same time. Thousands of people suffer from tired legs, but now there is relief. Listen to what some of our satisfied customers have to say.
I'm a busy mother of 4, and I've been using this product for 2 years. I've tried vitamins and other alternative therapies, but nothing worked. Until Go Cream. It's definitely the most effective product out there, and a deal at only $9.99 a jar.
I believe Go Cream is for people of all ages. My friends and I are students, and we're always on the go. We've all tried Go Cream and noticed a big difference in our energy, and it probably even helps make your skin smoother and healthier, too.
Don't get left behind. Order your Go Cream today.
Listening to. Boulder Bike to School program goes international. Listen for main ideas. Page 159.
You're tuned to Colorado Matters from KCFR News. I'm Ryan Warner. These days, kids are far more likely to get to school in their parents' car than by biking or walking. Well, a program in Boulder is designed to change that, and it's catching on in schools across the country and in Canada. But it didn't start out with that lofty goal. No, it started when 2 parents were trying to get their kids to bike to school. The kids weren't wild about the idea, and so their parents created punch cards, like the kind you get at a coffee shop or sub place. And when the cards were all punched, meaning the kids had biked consistently, there was a reward. Well, the frequent biker or friker concept caught on. Tim Carlin is one of the 2 dads who started this. He's now Friker's executive director. And he told me how this grew from a handful of kids at Crestview Elementary School in Boulder into an international program.
The way it got started was he and I were doing punch cards for our kids, and then we saw some other kids who were riding, and we told them, oh, well, we could do a punch card for you. And then some other kids started riding, and then we had punch cards for them. And pretty soon we had 25, 30 kids every morning arriving at the bike racks, taking part in this totally impromptu punch card system.
And what did punched cards get you? What was the reward?
We had a variety of incentives, sort of ranging from things as simple as a pencil to water bottles and to other trinkets that he would bring to school in a duffel bag. And then the kids would have the opportunity, when they had 10 punches, to reach into that bag and grab whatever interested them.
Excitement of a grab bag.
Exactly.
And the program has gotten more sophisticated, suffice to say.
As we moved past 25, 30 kids, it became really complicated to keep track of punching cards and who had a punch card. And of course, we're talking about young kids, so they had a tendency to lose their punch card. So we wrapped up that school year, that was the spring of 2004, with a punch card system. And for the fall of 2005, we came out with a barcode system. And so what we did is we barcoded every kid's bike. And when the kids rode, the bikes would be parked at the bike rack, and one of us would walk through all the bikes and scan them and then upload that data to the internet.
Now, Tim, that's a leap. I mean, that's a technological advancement.
Okay,
suffice it to say.
So me and the other guy are both from the high-tech industry.
Okay.
And so it sort of came natural to us to think of a technology solution.
So as the technology got more sophisticated, did the rewards?
The rewards did get more sophisticated. So once we felt that we had a really good day-to-day tracking system, we, Rob, the guy who really started the program, decided that why don't we shoot for the moon and offer a crazy incentive? And his crazy incentive was an iPod. And so the deal was if you rode over 90% of the days to school, you could win an iPod.
And so it wasn't just one iPod.
Oh, no.
Anyone who did this could get one.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, that was upwards of 30 kids a year riding over 160 days a year to school. So it was pretty substantial commitment on the kids' part and pretty outrageous incentive.
So at Crestview, where this program began, how many kids participate, on a regular basis?
Yeah, we're seeing roughly about 100 to 120 kids participating every day in the program. And that's out of a community of about 250 kids who could get themselves to school every day. So that's pretty neat. About half the kids at the school who are getting themselves to school every day.
And Freiker has grown well beyond Crestview.
That's right. We've grown into quite a few states now. We have units installed at McFarland, Wisconsin, Platteville, Wisconsin, Eugene, Oregon, Los Altos, California, and a couple systems actually up in Canada now, which we're very excited about. And I might also add that we also include walkers now as part of the program since the original days.
That is a way of getting to school that uses your own energy.
Yeah, we call it...
Is that the idea?
Yeah, the buzzword is active transportation.
Okay.
And the idea is that it's an inclusive term that includes skateboarding, bikes, walking, anything a kid uses to propel themselves to school on their own power.
You're listening to Colorado Matters. I'm Ryan Warner, and Tim Carlin is our guest. He's executive director of Freiker. It's a frequent biker program, born in Boulder and spreading not only across the country, but beyond the borders. I imagine you'll have to change the name if you keep encouraging walking and
That's
and
right. So we're in the process of coming up with a new name because obviously we've grown beyond our original beginning name.
I gather that there has to be some infrastructure in place at a school to make this possible.
Yeah. As I described earlier, we started out with punch cards, then we went to barcodes. We now have a very high-tech solution, a device that is out in the bike rack area that we call the Freikometer.
Okay.
And this is a solar-powered, internet-enabled RFID reader. And RFID stands for radio frequency ID. And They're very common these days in products you buy at stores like Walmart. They're actually embedded in the product. CDs have them, books have them. Basically everything you buy not only has a barcode on the back, but also has an RFID chip in it, which identifies the product through radio instead of through optical scanning.
And what that means is the kid really doesn't have to do much but park his or her bike.
That's exactly right. So using the barcode system, we had to have a volunteer there every day of the week scanning each individual bike. Now the kid simply rides by the fricometer and it automatically records and uploads their data. That relieves the program from having to have a volunteer out there every day. And now that same parent volunteer who would have been out there doing punch cards or scanning bikes, that person can be inside helping kids learn how to read or focusing their efforts on some other activity.
So who's paying for this? I mean, is it the school, or how does it work?
Well, there are a variety of ways that this program's being funded. Again, there's a federal program called Safe Routes to School. Local communities can submit grant requests to get a Friker system as part of Safe Routes to School. But in some places, a local bike store has funded it. In Los Altos, California, they have a community group called Greentown Los Altos. And Friker is one of the 4 programs that community group is focusing on. And so they're using their fundraising dollars to buy more systems and implement it at all the elementary and middle school in town.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for sharing this story with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Tim Carlin is executive director of Boulder-based Friker, or Frequent Biker Program.
Listen for details. Page 160. Listen again to listen for main ideas. Vocabulary skill. Idioms and informal expressions. B. Page 162. 1.
But now Odom's a true believer. He says getting stung is the only thing that helps him with his pain. He's also convinced his wife, and that's a big deal, since she's the state secretary for Health and Human Services.
2.
Keller was here for the annual meeting of the American Apitherapy Society in Durham a couple of weeks ago. She demonstrated bee venom therapy during a session for about a dozen people who practically buzzed with excitement as they waited to get stung.
3.
They might look at you askance or say, you're kind of flaky, aren't you? I mean, why would you want to be stung by a bee?
4.
There was a description of a place called Container City in London, in which shipping containers painted in primary colors had been stacked in unusual ways to create apartment buildings. And I simply thought of it at that moment, and a little sort of bingo light bulb went off in my head.
5.
Laurie Garrett, who now works with the Council on Foreign Relations, hopes governments and aid organizations will take her idea and run with it. She believes the container clinics ultimately could make portable medicine a reality for people in countries that need it most.
6.
So once we felt that we had a really good day-to-day tracking system, we, Rob, the guy who really started the program, decided that why don't we shoot for the moon and offer a crazy incentive? And his crazy incentive was an iPod.
Pronunciation. Conditional modals. Affirmative and negative. Page 166.
I could have told her.
I couldn't have told her.
You should have come on Sunday.
You shouldn't have come on Sunday.
We would have been happy with that answer.
We wouldn't have been happy with that answer.
A. Page 166. 1.
He couldn't have known who she was.
2.
You should have tried to call me.
3.
The program would have been a success.
4.
My boss wouldn't have supported such an innovative idea.
5.
The medical clinic shouldn't have closed.
6.
You shouldn't have given up on that problem so soon.
7.
I still think he could have tried to work with me.
8.
Even a grant wouldn't have made any difference.
B. Page 166. 1.
Did you read about that woman who tried bee sting therapy? That's crazy. I wouldn't have done something like that. Would you?
Well, I'm not sure. I would have researched it first, of course. I wouldn't have dismissed it without finding out about it, though.
I wonder if it helped her at all. Perhaps she should have gone to a conventional doctor.
But the article said that her arthritis was completely cured. Maybe you should have finished reading it.
2.
I went to an amazing conference on alternative medicine yesterday. You should have been there. You would have loved it.
I know, but I had a big test to study for. If I hadn't studied, I wouldn't have passed. What did I miss?
Well, the best part was this guy who talked about using shark fin extract to help boost your immune system. I wouldn't have imagined that was possible, but he convinced me and even gave out some free samples.
Really? Maybe if I had been there, I could have tried one of those shark fin samples. I think I'm getting a cold.
Unit assignment. Consider the ideas. A. Page 168.
Ladies and gentlemen, a group of talented young engineers at the MIT Media Lab have designed an innovative product, the latest advance in personal security, the vibrating wallet. We all know that credit card loss, which can often lead to identity theft, is on the rise. Statistics reveal that 10% of credit card users have left their cards behind in a store or dropped them while traveling at least once. The vibrating wallet integrates the vibration of a cell phone with a standard wallet. The signal is activated whenever a credit card leaves the wallet and is only deactivated upon replacement. The reminder signal is transmitted until a credit card is replaced in the holder. We believe this product is light years ahead of other personal security devices that are currently on the market, and we believe it will quickly catch on. We need some help financing this product in order to get it off the ground, and we urge you to consider investing in the future of personal security.
Okay, guys, here's the deal. We've all had the experience of losing a credit card. You know, we're getting ready to pay for our date, and we grab our wallet, and then, we find out the card's gone. You freak out, right? Okay, so maybe it, turns up later at some store, or on the floor of your car, or whatever. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe someone's already out buying stuff with it, charging it up. Now, we're talking major panic mode, right? So check this out. The vibrating wallet. It's an awesome product designed by a bunch of engineering students at the MIT Media Lab. Whenever you take your credit card out of your wallet, the microchip alarm inside turns on and goes like this. And hey, that buzzing sound won't stop till you put it back. It's the ultimate in credit card safety and protection against identity theft. Go online and order yours now.
Unit 8. Permanence and Change. The Q Classroom. Page 173.
Class, the Unit 8 question is, how do people react to change? What about you, Felix? How do you react to change?
Badly. I'm kidding. But it does take me a while to adjust when I move or go to a new school or get a new job. I like the feeling when I know where everything is and when I know the people around me, so I'm happiest when I get settled into a place. I tend to be kind of uncomfortable at first after a big change.
Not me. To me, change is exciting. I love it when I'm starting something new and have new people to meet and new places to explore. I kind of get bored if everything stays the same.
What about people in general? How do most people react to change? Are they like Felix or like Marcus? What do you think, Sophie?
My guess is that more people are like Felix. They find it hard to change. And when they get older, it gets even more difficult. My parents wouldn't want to move even if they had a good opportunity in a different area. They're too comfortable where they are.
What do you think, Una? How do people react to change?
I agree with Sophie. I think most people don't like change.
At my job, they put in a new computer program. It was really good, but a lot of people hated it for a long time because it was different.
Well, I can accept change perfectly well if it's for a good reason. I don't think I would be like Yuna's coworkers, complaining about something good just because it's new. However, I do think change for its own sake can be overrated these days. Look at Sophie's parents. Why should they ever want to move? They probably have neighbors they like, and a shopping market they like, and a home they're comfortable in. What someone on the outside might see as a good opportunity might not really be a good deal for them.
Well put, Felix. We'll talk about this issue more as we go through Unit 8.
Listening 1. The Reindeer People. Listen for main ideas. Page 177.
We were all once nomads. But in the Central Asian nation of Mongolia, many of the people still are. Herders are constantly on the move, finding fresh grasses for their animals. Mongolia's geography, a boundless wilderness with soil that can't sustain agriculture, forces people to embrace the nomadic life. Sanjim is a nomadic reindeer herder. He and his people are caught between two worlds, theirs, and one in which Mongolia's urban elite calls on nomads to settle. Sanjim sits, mounted on one reindeer, and drives about 50 others with coats of white and mottled charcoal up a rock-strewn grassy slope.
Our ancestors have herded reindeer here, in mountains of Mongolia, for generations. We keep our animals here, and we actually follow our reindeer where they want to go, because the environment and the climate are perfectly suited to our reindeer. This is the basis of our culture.
Sanjim's an elder within a group of 207 people, 44 families. Every few weeks he moves camp in the taiga, a vast expanse of mountains, forest, and ice, straddling Mongolia's border with Siberia. Today, though, Sanjim is worried. When Mongolia's communist government was toppled by a democratic revolution in the 1990s, his state salary was withdrawn.
Under communism, there was a policy of taking care of everyone. There was less poverty then. Personally, I prefer democracy. But we are a young democracy, and some of us are not managing to make a living.
Herders and their families are trying to cope. With the end of state subsidies, free veterinary care ended. A reindeer is milked on a flat patch of frozen ground beside a teepee. Reindeer milk, cheese, and yogurt are staples of the taiga diet. With the end of regular veterinary care, the herd dwindled. Beside his teepee made of canvas slung over a wood pole frame, Sanjim's granddaughter sings of the sweet kiss of a short Mongolian summer. In another teepee, a couple is thinking about giving up the nomadic life. Smoke from a wood stove escapes through the open top of the tent. The sweet aroma of juniper incense fuses with the smell of musky canvas. Irdun, a wind-burned reindeer herder in his mid-30s, watches the fire. He and his wife, Oyumbadam, have a decision to make.
Honestly, I am not sure our reindeer and our reindeer culture will continue to exist. I really don't know what will happen to us. The number of families trying to leave the taiga is increasing, while the size of our reindeer herd is decreasing due to disease and attacks by wolves. So I am not sure we can expand our herd to the point it will support the families.
But Irdun's wife, Oyumbadam, isn't willing to give up. She's just returned from the capital, Ulaanbaatar. She went to Parliament and met government bureaucrats. She pleaded for financial and veterinary support. The economic advisor to Mongolia's president did not have encouraging words. Oyumbadam received nothing of substance, only a pledge that the government will hold a seminar on herders' issues at some time in the future. Still, she calls the trip a success.
We were at least listened to. We were able to speak for ourselves, in our own voice. I'm encouraged by this.
There are Mongolians working to help the herders. Mayagar Nansalma is a government veterinarian who's made the trek, 3 days by jeep, then 8 hours by horse, from the capital to visit Sanjim and his herd. She's here on vacation, working with 2 American NGOs. Biologist Morgan Kay of Colorado heads the NGO Itgel, the Mongolian word for hope.
Modernity has many faces, and if we learn nothing from encountering these people, at least let us remember that the way we choose to live in the West is only one way. And it's still possible for people, even in the 21st century, to be living a subsistence, balanced lifestyle that leaves them at the mercy of natural forces that we've become totally separate from.
Herder Sanjim still has hope.
As long as we can continue earning our living by raising reindeer, our culture will survive. Myself and other elders always tell the young people how to herd the reindeer properly. That is the obligation the older generation must fulfill to the younger generation.
Herders know they're at a critical moment. They can settle, but Sanjim says that would be the end of who they are as a people. And that's a thought he can't even contemplate.
Listen for details. Page 177. Listen again to listen for main ideas. Listening skill. Recognizing attitudes. Page 179. 1.
The future of the reindeer herders sounds pretty uncertain.
2.
The female nomads have a lot to say about this issue.
3.
The number of reindeer is decreasing?
4.
Personally, I think the herders are going to survive.
A. Page 180. 1.
He's not going to lose his job if he doesn't agree to move.
2.
My routine is the same every day. Get up, go to work, come home, go to bed.
3.
They don't have time to adjust to the new situation.
4.
She really thinks she can just move to a new city and find a job in one day.
5.
Those who can't cope with the lack of permanence are just not cut out for the life of a nomad.
6.
We're moving today.
7.
You're moving today?
8.
My sister and I are traveling to Mongolia this summer, and we're going to stay with some nomads.
B. Page 180. 1.
Let us remember that the way we choose to live in the West is only one way. And it's still possible for people, even in the 21st century, to be living a subsistence, balanced lifestyle that leaves them at the mercy of natural forces that we've become totally separate from.
2.
Well, I thought I traveled a lot, but then I discovered that there were some people who were traveling way, way past anything that I had ever dreamed possible. They basically didn't have homes anymore.
Listening to High-Tech Nomads. Listen for main ideas. Page 183.
Like that intrepid group of American tourists, most of us choose to travel because we want to. We've come a long way from times when we had to wander through different lands without homes, living as nomads. Or have we? Even today, when we can easily interact with someone by picking up a phone or logging onto a computer, some people still make their living constantly traveling from place to place. Their only addresses exist as email or as cell phone numbers. Welcome to the world of the high-tech nomad. Writer Joel Guru investigated this unique breed of traveler for the Washington Post, and he sat down with us recently to tell us what he learned.
Well, I thought I traveled a lot, but then I discovered that there were some people who were traveling way, way past anything that I had ever dreamed possible. They basically didn't have homes anymore. The road was their home.
Tell me, what are the characteristics of a high-tech nomad? Do they generally have one kind of occupation? Are they generally men or women?
I was surprised at how many women I found. I thought it would have been an awful lot of cranky males. The breakthrough is that these nomads are not marginal by any means. They're making 6 and 7 and 8 and 9-digit incomes. These are people who have to be completely wired to the global economy all the time. They're like nomads of 10,000 years ago in that they're kind of browsing the savannas of the Fortune 500.
And they do what for livings?
These guys have jobs that we don't really have names for yet. There's one guy who's kind of a one-man multimedia mini conglomerate with a social conscience. He has one place in Barcelona and another in Boston, and the film he just finished was in Burundi. There are some of these guys who do have apartments in 5 or 6 different places, but when you talk to them, you realize that they're basically cargo dumps with a view.
What other high-tech, besides the obvious laptop and your Palm Pilot, are there any other high-tech devices these folks carry?
Well, it's only been in the last 10 years that we've had enough wired technology to make this barely possible. It just drives them nuts how many cell phones they have to carry. And of course, this is their lifeline. They're always looking for somebody to talk to in a different time zone.
How do these high-tech nomads accomplish the mundane things of life, like laundry and picking up mail? And where do they keep all the stuff I can't even find a place in my apartment to keep? Receipts and family photos and tax returns and love letters. Where do they keep all this stuff?
Oh, it's a huge problem. I mean, what do you do with your shirts? If you're never in a place for 2 nights, how do you get your laundry done? One guy I talked to says that he has his shirts Federal Express to his next location. Where do you get your visa bill? Well, it turns out that these guys have all of their affairs mailed to their lawyer or to their accountant or something. But still, you need some kind of rootedness, even if it's inside yourself. Esther Dyson, for example, who is an investor and a kind of a technology pundit, has a ritual every morning. No matter how crazy the day is, she swims with her eyes closed for an hour, no matter what city she's in, because that is her time for herself, and that's how she stays connected to her own brain.
Most people need some sense of stability and connection and a sense of routine. What is it about the psyche of a high-tech nomad that seems to allow him or her to put that in abeyance?
That's where I part company with these guys. I mean, I do need a base and some roots, and they don't have that, and I was wondering just how crazy that makes you.
Give me an example of a specific high-tech nomad and what his or her life might be like in an average week or so.
Well, for example, there is this one venture capitalist named Jim Woodhill, and he's got a wife and an 18-month-old son, and that 18-month-old has got elite frequent flyer status.
Which means he's flown over 25,000, 50,000 miles
just all the
in
time.
A year.
He's got apartments in St. Louis, Houston, San Diego, San Francisco, New York, and Washington. And he moves his entire entourage, his family, his in-laws.
What is the payoff? Is there a thrill? Is it being a world citizen?
Well, the thrill is really the idea of feeling completely plugged in. These guys tend to have very short attention spans on average. And their payoff is that it's the idea of never being bored. One of the great ironies of this lifestyle is that, you ask yourself, well, if these guys are so plugged in and they can communicate from anywhere, why bother travel at all?
Exactly. Why do you even move?
And the great irony is that the reason they are nomads is for face-to-face contact. They feel that there's something that we get as a result of being face-to-face that is absolutely unreproducible, no matter how evolved the technology is ever going to be. And that's why they're nomads.
Joel, thank you so much for joining.
It's fun, Rudy.
Listen for details. Page 183. Listen again to listen for main ideas. Pronunciation. Consonant variations. Page 190.
Poor.
appeal, tech, return, cope, account, leader, matter, subsidy, question, nature, situate, gradual.
A. Page 191. 1.
Open. Opinion. Atom. Atomic. Intern. Turn.
2.
Master. Matter. Lender. Leader. Invitation. Invited.
3.
Greater. Gradual. Native. Natural. Captive. Capture.
B. Page 191. 1.
Cope, expand, payoff, policy.
2.
Connection, crazy, accomplish, cycle.
3.
Routine, elite, attention, tourist.
4.
Critical, material, ability, letter.
5.
Media, pleaded, nomadic, advisor.
6.
Century, future, 50, culture.
7.
Gradual, reindeer, schedule, individual.
C. Page 192.
Welcome to the world of the high-tech nomad. Writer Joel Guru investigated this unique breed of traveler for the Washington Post, and he sat down with us recently to tell us what he learned.
Speaking skill. Paraphrasing. Page 192.
One of the great ironies of this lifestyle is that, you ask yourself, well, if these guys are so plugged in and they can communicate from anywhere, why bother travel at all?
Exactly. Why do you even move?
End of CD3. The program continues on the next CD.